All right, we'd like to call this meeting of the West Dallas West Milwaukee School District to order, please. If we could rise, Ms. Heather Justin, could you please do the pledge? Called you by your phone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. And then could we do the roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Usdruck?
Here.
Mr. Keller?
Here.
Mr. Schultz will be arriving a little later. Mr.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Schultz will be a little late today, and Mr. Sikich?
Thank you.
Here, present.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Ms. Klug? Here. Mrs. Justman?
Here.
President Emmons?
Here. Proper notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin. Do we have any additions or changes to tonight's agenda? As you notice, Dr. Lexman is out ill again this evening, so Director Raymer will be sitting in his place. And then we will move on to public comments. Kevin Dobkins, if you just come up to the podium. And again, please state your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes. And then again, we don't debate or respond here, but you'll get a response from the board and the superintendent before the next scheduled meeting. Thank you so much.
My name is Kevin Dobkins, and my address is 2730 South 84th Street, West Dallas, Wisconsin, 53227. The reason that I am here today is because I have a couple items I want to briefly comment on. The first is that I believe that the board needs to make some changes to the policy regarding the appeal of decisions to the district. As it currently stands, the current policy is basically stacked in the district's favor, as the only means of appealing a decision is to meet with the people who actually enforce the policy, which is a conflict of interest at best. I believe that there needs to be a possibility to appeal to the school board. While I understand that it may not be feasible for the board to hear every appeal, the board could review any appeals to it and decide whether there is merit or not to hear it, but at least there is an option above the enforcing authority. In my situation, I was appealing the splitting of my sons to different schools. The main reason for this was the fact that my older son was actually displaced from his home school due to capacity, and not because we made a decision otherwise. We were actually forced to move him to a different school that actually had availability, and the appeal committee confirmed this in the meeting that I had with them, that Mitchell was in fact full, and that my statement to them was correct. The appeal committee confirmed in the meeting this, and they proceeded to just quote policy, and then also attack me as a parent and actually blame me for the decision in which we made. He had already been established in the school for 3 years prior to the change in the intra-district transfer policy. After the appeal was denied, I decided to review the board policy rule 432R, which was actually revised 2 years after we filed the transfer request to keep him at Franklin. What I actually found during the review of that was that there was a stipulation in there that it says if a student placement results in a student being assigned to a school other than the neighborhood school for reasons of capacity or any reasons listed above, the assigned school will work to honor any request for siblings to attend that school. And based on that, I don't understand why our appeal was denied, because it seems to me that the whole purpose of us having to put our son in a school that was not his home school falls under this criteria. It like basically seems to me that appeal committee decided to pick and choose what parts of the policy they wanted to apply to my situation, and not the whole situation, not the whole policy in its entirety. Basically, I am actually trying to find out. Basically, I want to know from like the board why my situation does not fall within the actual letter of the policy, and why it was denied for not by merit, but by what appears to be nothing more than just that this is the policy that was put in place, and they had no interest in ever hearing what I actually had to say in the appeal. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will go on to the superintendent's report.
Good evening. We're going to start tonight with a report from our West Allis Nathan Hale High School student representatives.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Coleman, and today I'm joined by Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Powers.
Hi, Nick.
I'm a junior at Nathan Hale. I'm in band and soccer and tennis.
Good to have you here.
Thanks. Okay, this month we would like to highlight the following from Nathan Hale. Nathan Hale gives back academic and career planning day and sports and fine arts update. So Nathan Hale gives back. The Nathan Hale students and staff are amazing with their tireless efforts to give back to the community and show their compassion for others during the holiday season. Student clubs and organizations advised by our teaching staff volunteer time and services to support our area of families in need and involve themselves in the community. With the season of thanks and giving upon us, Nathan Hale conducted a school-wide food and winter items drive sponsored by the Rotary Club, Sophomore Class Council, and National Honor Society. In addition to collecting non-perishable food items, we also collected hats, mittens, and scarves. Additionally, members of the Sophomore Council stayed after school to make fleece blankets. In total, we collected 1,745 items to benefit our local families through the Immaculate Heart of Mary Food Bank. Our holiday giving continued with participation in the West Allis West Milwaukee Recreation Department sponsored annual district holiday shopping experience for our elementary students at Target on December 8th. In support of this wonderful community event, financially supported by the Z-Man Foundation, over 225 of our Nathan Hale students and staff in various athletic and activity groups assisted our West Allis West Milwaukee families as Santa's helpers to find special gifts for Christmas. Some of the groups in attendance included the boys and girls basketball teams, football, cross country, and track teams, Rotary Interact Club, National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society, pom and cheerleading squads, class councils, best buddies, Hails for Heroes, and select homerooms. Our orchestra students added to the event by providing festive holiday music as families waited in line to begin their shopping experience. Then on Sunday, December 9th, Interact students at Hale participated in the Candy Cane Lane MAC fundraiser. They braved the chilly weather that night to collect money from observers to support the fight against childhood cancer. And lastly, on December 13th, students from the Hail for Heroes student organization, which does activities to support our local veterans, spent an evening at the VA hospital calling and playing bingo with patients. Compassion and support for others in need are important attributes for all of us to embrace. The holiday season can be some of the most difficult times for families and is very rewarding putting a smile on someone else's face through these events.
And now about our Academic and Career Planning Day. Nathan Hale High School hosted a whole school Academic and Career Planning Day on the morning of Tuesday, December 11th. With an entire school and district focus on college and career readiness for all students, we developed a morning of programming promoting this initiative for each grade level. Freshmen and sophomores participated in a career fair to learn more about careers of interest, ultimately leading to a future high school planning and post-high school goal setting. All 9th and 10th grade students had an opportunity to choose 3 sessions of interest from over 40 presenters to learn about such things as education and training pathways to enter the career, employment outlook for the field, positives and negatives of the job, pay ranges, and words of wisdom about how to find success in today's work world. Juniors and seniors had the opportunity to select and attend 3 workshops with topics relevant to them in their stage of the academic and career planning process. Sessions range from employability and interviewing skills, scholarships and financial aid, college application workshop, junior conference presentation, and an alumni panel discussion including students from UWM, Marquette, UW Whitewater, MATC, Vichy Beauty School, and an athletic trainer from Planet Fitness. In addition, juniors had an option to participate in a field trip to area post-second schools like UW Milwaukee or WCTC to learn about the programs available at those schools and tour the campus, matching potential interests with future goals and aspirations. It was a great day of learning with all students walking away with valuable information pertaining to where they are at in their high school career and decision-making process.
In the Nathan Hale Performing Arts and Athletics, the holiday music concerts are underway. The orchestra kicked off the holiday season last week with a successful concert, followed by the choir this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Planning ahead, our winter band concert is after the holiday, January 9th at 7 p.m. The spring musical has been chosen and auditions have been held. Nathan Hale and West Dallas Central will team up to perform the new Broadway production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. Shows will be performed the first 2 weekends of March in the Hale Auditorium. On the sports scene, the girls' basketball team is off to a great start to the season with 7 wins and only 2 losses, with the boys' basketball team starting with a 2-3 record. Tomorrow night brings on the next challenge as both teams compete against the conference leader, Sussex Hamilton. Senior girls basketball player Natalia Leguzman was named Area Player of the Week earlier this month when she scored 42 points and grabbed 18 rebounds in the Husky victory over Milwaukee Hamilton. Natalia will be signing her letter of intent to play basketball under scholarship at NAIA Division I high school, William Penn, tomorrow after school. The combined West Dallas Wave swim and dive team are off to a great start to the season with our 3-man diving team winning the Woodland Conference diving relay meet and the swim team finishing 4th at conference relays. The combined West Dallas DSHA gymnastics team has a 1-1 dual record this season with a recent win over Shorebird. As for the wrestling team, they are off to a solid start as well, including a conference dual match record of 2-1. The Nathan Hale dance team wowed the crowd at the Watertown Dance Competition on Saturday, December 8th. They received several awards, including 2nd place in POM out of 11 teams, 2nd place in Kickline out of 6 teams, 6th place in Jazz out of 11 teams. This is the highest they have placed at this competition against many amazing teams. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you back here in 2019.
Any comments, feedback? All right. On behalf of all of us, enjoy your holiday break. Be safe. We look forward to seeing you guys back in January. So
Thank you.
keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
On to the legislative update. So Governor-elect Tony Evers and Lieutenant Governor-elect Mandela Barnes announced their statewide Building the People's Budget Tour. The statewide tour will start on Tuesday, December 11th, 2018 in Green Bay and end the following week in Milwaukee. Each session is open to the public and will give participants the ability to share their budget priorities directly with Governor-elect Evers, Lieutenant Governor-elect Barnes, and transition policy staff. The Milwaukee visit is on December 19th, 2018 from 4:30 to 6 at the United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County Volunteer Center at 200 West Pleasant Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. State share of the K-12 costs rise 64.9%. The state's share of K-12 education costs bumped up to 64.9% of the $10.5 billion spent in 2017-18, according to a new memo from the Legislative Fiscal Bureau. This was an increase of nearly 63.6% the state covered in 2016-17 and 62.7% in 15-16. The Bureau projects that the state will account for 65.4% of public school costs in 18-19, and Evers said that he hopes to return to 2/3 funding in his first budget. The state first committed in the 1990s to fund 2/3 of public education costs, but that requirement was repealed under Democratic Governor Jim Doyle and GOP-controlled legislature in 2003. Over the past decade, the state's share of K-12 education bottomed out at 61.7% in the 11-12 school year. The memo also showed 26% of school districts last year received less than half of their revenues from the state. In 2013-14, 30.2% were below that 50% mark. The Bureau also detailed how the $940 million in school tax levy credits will be distributed in 18-19. The credit, which is extended to all taxable property, is distributed based on a formula that takes into account each municipality's share of the statewide levy over the previous 3 years. And there are no federal updates at this time. Okay. On to the district recognitions. So we have quite a few again tonight. Central High School, the Student Services Counselor Nate Rice took several students to participate in the Brothers United for Change Young Men of Color Leadership Summit, which was held at Marquette University. Teacher Julie Nichols organized a trip to Chicago with her students to visit the International Museum of Surgical Science. She teaches medical technology. Students were able to see ancient medical artifacts, historical prosthetic devices, and take part in a Civil War era amputation. Nathan Hale High School, school counselor Brandy Anthony took 25 male students of color to a college readiness summit at Concordia University. Some of those opportunities are coming to us through our work with the Concordia Closing the Achievement Gap Consortium, which we're members of, along with many area school districts. Teacher Mike Ellery worked with the Wisconsin Historical Society and the Wisconsin Black Historical Society to bring the traveling exhibit Crossing the Line, which focuses on the 1967 fair housing marches in Milwaukee and the resulting Civil Rights Act of 1968 to Hale's library. At Shared Journeys, child care provider Jenny Stalinsky completed her coursework in skills and strategies for the child care teacher Tier 3, and the student teacher at Shared Journeys, Nikki Klimowitz, is graduating from Alverno with honors. At Dotke, the science teacher Jenny Olhowski received $100 from a MEMIC grant that will be used for the purchase of Scholastic Science magazines. This will also allow students to stay current with scientific advancements as well as work to improve their literacy skills. At Lane received a truckload of lumber donated by Bliffert Lumber. Josh Brown, the company manager, organized this with the help of the teacher Jim Wirtz. At Franklin, teacher Emily Rodair-Terrian received a $500 grant from the Milwaukee Masonic Temple for Franklin's music department. This grant money will help subsidize the cost for ukuleles for students. Teacher Jamie Crotto's husband, Dave Crotto, shared his carpentry experience with 4 fifth-grade students to help them prepare an accordion display for the Franklin Student Showcase. Students Mackenzie Layton and Daniel Kirchner represented Franklin at the Young Authors Conference. At Hoover, teacher Nancy Sosong secured a grant from the Milwaukee Public Museum that allows students to visit the museum at a reduced rate. At Madison, Student Council, led by teacher Jane Fetchko, organized an all-school experience for students to create a dairy farm-themed ornaments to be displayed at the Milwaukee County Zoo for their Trim the Tree event. The tree is located at the U.S. Bank Gathering Place. At Pershing, students Priscilla Armenta, Maya Garcia, Layla Alexander, and Yinzi Hernandez Nieves represented Pershing at the Young Authors Conference. At Walker, Student Council and Team Persistence collected over 800 canned items for a local food pantry. Deeper Learning coach Stacy Lang received a Kohl's Care grant to send every child on a field trip to Betty Bryn, the Milwaukee Public Museum, or Discovery World on January 4th. At Wilson, the Wilson Space Gamers Lego Robotics team, under the direction of innovation coach Brendan Kelly, teacher Lisa Erickson, and Rockwell engineer Mark Grease, competed at the first Lego League sectional tournament at McGuanago High School on December 8th. The team won the Robot Mechanical Design Award and will advance to the state competition. And then Communication and Community Relations, special thanks to Marcus Theaters for providing 2-for-1 passes and 2 complimentary sized soft drinks per ticket to our schools as part of their student motivation program. Students receive the tickets through random drawings and as incentives for attendance as part of PBIS. And then Marty also included the flyer for the Excellence in Equity Convention, the state convention. So if you are interested in signing up, you can speak to Suzette.
Great. Any other updates?
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to two of the comments that were made in public comment last week at the board meeting. At Mitchell Elementary, MAP scores were calculated into some of the grades in the 4th and the 5th grade. And the representatives who came to speak were accurate. We had not yet communicated to the rest of the families. It was presented to the families as optional to have their grade for first quarter recalculated. Several families decided to go ahead and do that, and several families decided not to. And going forward, those MAP scores will not be calculated into students' grades. The comments on grading, I agree with those comments on grading as they were presented, and as you know, we've been working on an elementary report card that will shift the way that we are looking at reporting grades to families and students. And that will, this summer, we will start to reinstitute the grading committee that met many, many hours several years ago to start looking at our grading practices and get some consistency across the district. So that was the response to the two comments from last week.
Great, thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item 8, the board president's report. First, we'll take a look at the board calendar. Tonight, Monday, December 17th, we have a regular Board of Education meeting. Immediately following, we have a board development workshop. Winter break is Monday, December 24th through Tuesday, January 1st, and classes resume on Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. On Monday, January 14th, starting at 6 o'clock, a regular Board of Education meeting. Then we have 2 workshops, financial stability and efficiency on open enrollment in Chapter 220 seats, and then college and career readiness on the profile of a graduate concept. Monday, January 21st, starting at 6 o'clock, we have a college and career readiness workshop on student supports. And then Monday, January 28th, again at 6 p.m., is a regular Board of Education meeting. And then following a financial stability and efficiency workshop on the 2017-2018 audit. And then the next item is a reminder that the state education convention is coming up in January, January 23rd through 25th at the Wisconsin Center. So Suzette did send out an email that if anybody is interested in registering and hasn't yet, to please get your name into Suzette so that she can get you registered. And look forward to seeing a lot of people down there. Dan?
This just kind of goes back to the district recognition. I want to congratulate Docky High School. I had the opportunity last week to go over to junior achievement with a group of Docky students, and we actually worked on budgets. They all received an iPad, they received a credit card, and they had to learn how to do taxes and how to do budgets, and some of them were put into a situation where they were married, some were not married, some had children, and some were paying off college funds. So in all, it was an experience for me to see that we have people, young people in our district that are learning how to do these things, and they loved it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Any other board members with any other comments? Noel?
I was able to participate in the father-daughter dance put on by the Hill Palms this last Friday. It was a lot of fun. My daughter absolutely loved it, and definitely will be bothering me to go back next time they have another one. So it was very well put on, great music, great awesome decorations. The Palms girls, you could pay a little extra and they could do your daughter's hair and stuff like that. So she absolutely loved that. So I just want to commend them on a very well put together event.
Great. Any other community events, Heather?
I will just say that tomorrow is Central's, one of their concerts, choir orchestra, I believe. And then Wednesday is Central's Dine Out at Cousins for the PTSA.
And going back to the convention, the topic this year for the state convention is excellence and equity. There's quite a few sessions, if you haven't looked at the agenda yet, around some closing the gap work, which is work that we've been very actively doing within our district. So if you are able to attend, even if it's just for some of the sessions, you may want to check some of those out, because it was pretty interesting, very applicable to the work that we are trying to do with our district.
And one last thing on the convention, Studer, who we work with on strategic planning and many, many other things, is hosting a session on Wednesday morning on collaboration between school boards and district administration, and Marty and I are actually 2 of the presenters during that session. So there's 3 school districts that are participating that work alongside Studer, so they asked West Dallas, West Milwaukee to participate. So Marty and I will be doing that then Wednesday morning as well. All right. If there's nothing else for community, then we will move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda tonight consists of item 9.1, the approval of minutes from the December 10th, 2018 regular Board of Education meeting, 9.2, the employment summary, 9.3, the supplementary contracts, and 9.4, the financial summary. Does anyone need anything separated? If not, look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll go on to our action items then for tonight. Item 10.1, the 2019-2020 budget calendar adoption. Come on over. Hi,
Hello.
Hello?
welcome back.
Thanks. So we reviewed this calendar last week. I've received no changes or anything. And like we mentioned, or not last, yeah, was it last week? Time's flying. This calendar stays mainly consistent from year to year and only changes really with the dates that we have to submit the budget publication to the newspaper and things like that. So I hadn't heard of any changes and everything is good on my end.
Looking for a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and approved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, calendar is adopted. Thank you. All right, and then we'll move on to action item 10.2, the WASB resolutions for this year. You want to give a
Sure.
little summary?
Before I start, I just want to say, if you think you did not have enough time to read these and comprehend them, we have plenty of time to approve this at that first one in January. So we're not, we don't have to vote on it tonight. I don't have any answers to any questions you have on the resolutions, because we don't meet on that until the day of to get it explained, which seems a little bizarre, but that's how it's always been. The delegate assembly is going to be held at 1:30 on Wednesday, January 23rd, at the Wisconsin Center, part of WASB, which is the Wisconsin Association of School Board. Active members of the WASB are entitled to 1 vote per delegate, so every district is given one vote. Each active member board, which we are a member of, determines its position on each recommended resolution as to give direction to the board's official delegate, which happens to be me, and I'm not, are you our alternate, or?
I don't remember
We
who you
elect
said
an
as
alternate,
alternate.
but I don't know, I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, I think it's Christine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's also suggested that the official delegates be given discretionary latitude by the respective boards to vote on amendments or resolutions that would come up that day. You are able to attend the RA if you're interested, just to see how it works, but there's a special section. Only delegates are allowed on the floor, but there is a spectator, if you want to call it, session. So just, as I read through all of these, and being that we pay dues to WASB, I am with everyone that WASB is for. I did not hear from any directors that certain ones would be disadvantaged to us to vote on. That's really the only report I have. I will be there to vote, and if you think that you're okay with me going with WASB's recommendations, they do give their rationale in here on whether it's outdated or since Act 10, some of them are void. It's your call. Tell me what to do. We can do it tonight, we can do it.
Does everyone
January.
feel comfortable with making a decision on the resolutions today? I would move that we approve WASB's recommendations and allow Mr. Sikich to vote on behalf of the resolutions for the board.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Go forth and delegate.
Shall do.
All right. All right, item 11, the board member suggestions for future agenda items? No?
So I have two. One is going to be easy and one is going to be different. So I'll
We'll
go
take
with the-
notes.
I'll go with the different one first. I would like to see a workshop or something coming through committee on possibly changing, flip-flopping our timing for elementary schools and high schools. So having our elementary schools start earlier and our high schools start later. There's a lot of research on that shows that's advantageous. There's a lot of work done with districts that have done this, that have shown increases in attendance and achievement. And so it's something I'd like to see explored here in our district and see what sort of logistics would be involved.
What was the second one?
The second one is, I would like to get an update on Act 32 monies. So I know there's a guaranteed amount that we get every time, basically contracted through McKinstry. I would like to know if that is being paid from McKinstry, because we're not actually saving that amount yet. And if it is, if it's a split, what that split is. And then if we are saving that amount, that we're, basically deducting from the amount that we're paying for the loan that we took out for this, what is the actual amount that we're saving? So is it a lot more than this, just barely what we're at, or less?
Great. Anybody else? All right. All right, we will take a 5-minute break then as we get ready for workshop. And then we'll be meeting for workshop over at the tables and the drawing board over here. All right, we're at recess.